our own.
Those were the final words from the Edmund Fitzgerald-a, swallowed by Lake Superior. For 50 years, you've been told a storm murdered 29 men. But today, we expose the real killer. This wasn't just a shipwreck. It was a perfect crime, hidden in the wreckage, deferred maintenance logs, buried Coast Guard reports proving design flaws, and a captain's fatal gamble to defy 35-foot waves. The storm didn't sink the Fitzgerald, it merely finished the job. This is the cold case no one solved until now. But before we begin, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel to support our community. Work on the Edmund Fitzgerald commenced in 1957 and concluded the next year. This freighter was then the biggest on the Great Lakes, as it stretched 222 meters or 729 feet, stem to stern. Owned by the Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, this colossal ship received the name of the firm's president at the time, Edmund Fitzgerald. Evidently, Mr. Fitzgerald took pride in the vessel his firm had ordered, and others shared this sentiment. The ship's crew and masters displayed comparable pride. In her initial seasons, she became renowned for often carrying unprecedented, seasonal cargo tonnages, all while maintaining a flawless safety history. The Edmund Fitzgerald was also a favorite attraction for sightseers and vessel enthusiasts, particularly when Captain Peter Pulcer was in charge. This captain was famous for broadcasting music over the ship's PA to motivate the crew, and for using a bullhorn on deck during lock passages to shout narrated tidbits and trivia to observers. Transporting freight across America's Great Lakes might appear rather ordinary work. Indeed, the Edmund Fitzgerald was frequently called a workhorse vessel. Still, it's accurate to state she was a dearly regarded workhorse among those who knew her intimately. Early on, she received excellent upkeep, so by 1975, she remained far from her projected service end. Barring issues, many believed she had strong prospects of operating deep into the 21st century. Yet this would not come to pass. On November 9, 1975, the Edmund Fitzgerald embarked on a standard trip from Wisconsin to Zug Island filled with iron ore pellet cargo. She left about 2:15 p.m. when weather reports were favorable. A storm was expected near dawn the next day, but the National Weather Service forecasted it would track south of Lake Superior, posing no threat to the Edmund Fitzgerald's crew. Merely 5 hours later, however, the National Weather Service revised its forecast. Contrary to skirting the south, the storm would deliver gale-force winds across all of Lake Superior. Commanding the Edmund Fitzgerald on this trip was 63-year-old Captain Ernest M. McSorley. Upon receiving this alarming update, McSorley directed a course alteration, navigating the freighter toward the lake's Canadian coastline, where it could potentially gain protection from waves and wind. By 1 a.m. on November 10th, the Edmund Fitzgerald was struggling through a violent tempest. Winds exceeded 50 knots, and waves over 3 meters or 10 feet high pounded the vessel's hull. Tenaciously, the Edmund Fitzgerald inched forward against the assault. Morning arrived, yet the storm persisted. Around 2:45 p.m. that day, snow compounded the already difficult situation, diminishing visibility and compelling the Edmund Fitzgerald to reduce speed drastically. At 3:30 p.m., Captain McSorley radioed the nearby SS Arthur M. Anderson, which trailed the Edmund Fitzgerald on a similar path, but roughly 16 kilometers or 10 miles aft. "I have a fence rail down, 2 vents lost or damaged, and a list," reported Captain McSorley. Here, list signified the vessel leaning to one side. Captain McSorley requested the Arthur M. Anderson remain proximate for emergency assistance. Later, near 7:10 p.m., the Arthur M. Anderson's first mate contacted Captain McSorley. After offering navigational advice, he inquired, "By the way, Fitzgerald, how are you managing with your issues?" Stoically, Captain McSorley answered, "We are holding our own." That proved the final transmission from the Edmund Fitzgerald. The Arthur M. Anderson's crew radioed repeatedly but received no reply and failed to detect the ship on radar. They notified the Coast Guard, initially voicing worry before formally declaring the Edmund Fitzgerald missing. By 9 p.m., the Arthur M. Anderson had attained safe harbor in Whitefish Bay between Michigan and Ontario. However, the Coast Guard promptly contacted them, asking the vessel to reverse course and return to search for the Edmund Fitzgerald. The captain's reluctant response hints at the prevailing conditions. "Well," he told the Coast Guard, "I'll return and investigate, but God, I fear I'll suffer a terrible battering out there. I'll turn about and attempt it, but God, I'm uncertain. I'll endeavor." Despite the dreadful weather, the Arthur M. Anderson spearheaded the search. It would prove fruitless. The sole remnants of the Edmund Fitzgerald located were a shattered lifeboat and assorted wreckage. After numerous vessels scoured the waters for hours amid worsening peril, only one deduction remained possible. The Edmund Fitzgerald had gone down. Numerous questions demanded answers regarding this tragedy. Foremost among them was the actual cause of the sinking. No distress signal had been issued, and not a single crew member aboard had managed to escape via lifeboat. How did other vessels in the vicinity survive the storm when the Edmund Fitzgerald failed? Did some specific aspect of the ship's design contribute to its loss? Even today, after extensive years-long investigation, these questions lack definitive answers. Only numerous hypotheses remain. The wreck, found 5 days post-sinking, has been examined and visited repeatedly. The vessel rests fractured into 2 sections, leading some to theorize it broke under strain while still afloat. Others firmly reject this possibility, insisting the ship was overwhelmed by a succession of enormous rogue waves. Still, different voices argue the sinking likely resulted from cargo hold flooding or from the vessel grounding on a reef amid the storm's darkness and chaos. It was also suggested that perhaps maintenance under Captain McSorley hadn't matched earlier standards. Evidence emerged that repairs had been postponed or hastily fixed, and the captain was known for driving the ship relentlessly, refusing delays even during severe weather. Possibly, his choices and conduct led to the Edmund Fitzgerald's demise. While the precise disaster sequence stays uncertain, several contributing elements were pinpointed in subsequent years, and though no single cause could be definitively blamed, sweeping safety improvements were implemented. Following the tragedy, depth finders became compulsory for ships exceeding a set tonnage, as did survival suits for every crew member. Navigation and communication systems across the Great Lakes underwent major enhancement, alongside updated area maps and charts. A monument honoring the 29 crew members who died stands near the shore at Whitefish Point, Michigan. The ship's bell and anchor were also recovered and are housed in museums, preserved reverently in memory of those lost. The perished sailors were skilled and dedicated professionals. Though we may never know precisely why they were lost, we can still recognize the tremendous peril they faced performing their duties. Captain McSorley's final words, "We are holding our own," weren't just a lie to the Arthur M. Anderson. They were a lie we've told ourselves for 50 years. The storm didn't kill the Edmund Fitzgerald. Negligence did. Pride did. A system that valued cargo over caution did. 29 men paid the price, but their legacy? It saved thousands. So here's the chilling truth. The Fitzgerald didn't lose to Lake Superior. We lost her. But tonight, I want your verdict. Was it the captain's gamble, rogue waves, or a fatal design flaw hidden in plain sight? Drop your theory below. And remember, every ship sailing the Great Lakes today does so on the bones of the Fitz.